And you can also join us on Facebook at Kaieteur Radio.
And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here. Let's get to the news in detail. Even though Guyana's CARICOM's sister, Trinidad and Tobago, has been in the oil and gas industry for well over 100 years, its poor management and weakened institutional capacity that spans decades have thrown its economy into a state of ill health. The government, led by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, is struggling to repair the damage by embarking on a campaign of contract negotiations, while its experienced industry stakeholders zero in on Guyana's emerging oil wealth as a means of survival. To ensure it does not find itself in the same predicament, Trinidad and Tobago's energy expert Anthony Paul firmly asserts that Guyana needs to begin the critical groundwork now. In other news, even though we had warned earlier this year that Vitol SA, the world's biggest oil trader, has an extremely corrupt past and should therefore be disqualified from doing in the nation's relatively young oil sector, the Energy Department still went ahead and selected it to be part of the short list of companies to be considered to market Guyana's crude. Last week, the world learned that this very company has been paying foreign officials left, right, and center to win contracts. In response, it quickly paid millions of dollars to settle the allegations. And moving on, the EPA will soon conduct an environmental impact assessment for the construction of a new bridge across the Demerara River. This comes following an application by the Public Works Ministry's Work Services Group. This key step, which is stipulated in the Environmental Protection Act laws of Guyana, will facilitate the public's written submissions on questions and matters to be addressed or considered in the EIA. In the EPA's notice, the agency said the public would have 28 days to make their submissions after the notice is publicized. In other news, weeks after the March 2nd general and regional elections, the executive of the coalition government under the then President David Granger had ordered the surveillance of a senior minister from the AFC arm of the administration. According to reliable sources who saw correspondence on the matter, the executive had received credible reports that the minister was alleged to have been involved in a number of illegal practices linked to ammunition and gun licenses, among other activities. And moving on, in a matter of 8 days, Guyana would be reached its first year of being an oil-producing state. But when one reflects the extent to which it has prepared for the effective regulation of this new sector and the revenues to come, Trinidadian energy strategist Anthony Paul asserts that there is indeed more the nation can do to protect itself. Paul posited that Guyana needs to put robust laws in place as quickly as possible so that oil companies can have no room to debate or wonder what exactly is required of them. With such laws in place, the industry experts said that Guyana would reduce the chances of regulators being surprised by certain tactics or simply being fooled. And moving on, former President David Granger has declined an invitation from President Dr. Irfaan Ali to attend a State House lunch to discuss inclusive governance, Guyana's development, and the way forward. He registered his effective refusal in a letter demanding that the government address certain issues and defer the president's meeting until after those issues are taken care of. Granger said that the public is concerned about certain actions of the government, including debts as a result of the pandemic, dismissals of public servants, dismantling of the departments of citizenship and social cohesion, and the harassment of Elections Commission officials and human rights violations. And moving on, when asked why the AFC, when in government, had failed to hold BK International Incorporated and Courtney Ben Contracting Services accountable for failing to complete the construction of 2 schools, General Secretary of the party, David Patterson, opted to provide excuses. According to the termination letters, their termination followed after both contractors had failed to honor their contractual obligations. And now let's tell you, police are currently investigating a suspected arson committed on Arakaka Police Outpost located at Arakaka Northwest District. Based on information received, the incident occurred at around 2 hours 30 yesterday. A subordinate officer who was on duty at the time reportedly told investigators that he and other ranks were performing duties in the inquiry's office when they heard a loud explosion and instantly saw a huge blaze to the front of the building. Upon seeing this, the ranks immediately rushed for some water to extinguish the fire. The police, along with the Guyana Fire Service, has launched an investigation into the matter.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember, to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of